Well, hello. Let's see what we can do here. I am setting up my YouTube channel so I can see you and see who all is joining. Amazing, there we are. And the sun is shining in deep. So let me just make sure that works out okay. Staring at myself 3 seconds ago. Home for the holidays. Let's do a couple of things to bring down our nervous system, to tune in to what our nervous system is doing, and then jump into this discussion, reflection, and then a little bit of a practice. Okay, so if you're here, thank you so much. You probably know that Kundalini Yoga is an incredible way to work with your nervous system, to set yourself up to really listen to your soul once that layer of stress and tension has diminished, and then to really chart your progress forward from a soul felt perspective. So I'm glad you're here. For those of you who are in the US, this is your Thanksgiving weekend and an opportunity probably to see people you haven't seen in a little while, and also really reflect on your values and what you're wanting to step into family with. So let's do a couple things, all right? Take your hands and bring them into figure eights. This is a really good way to work with the nervous system. Both hands are together, and that brings left and right brain online at the same time. Okay, so figure eights. I do this with my kiddo all the time, and we found it to be really playful and fun, and then also a really good way to get on the same page with each other. All right, and 3, 2, and 1. Amazing. Good. I'm gonna separate your hands. And then here, swipe down on both sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay. So if you were with kids, just know that this is a really simple thing that you can do, all of you, to get co-regulated. Okay, so we did 2 exercises. We did the figure eights, we did a swipe. Now we're going to do a little bit more movements. So hands are behind, interlaced, and behind the head. And we're going to just move from side to side. About 20 in total. So 10 on each side. And this is also another way of moving across the midline, giving ourselves a little bit of an opportunity to move, pick up the pace a little bit, find our breath. Good. And this is in the world of somatics, this is a way of training your brain. Good. 3, 2, 1. Good. And come back. And exhale. Good. Take your fingers and press, press, press on your ears. Press, press, press. Stimulating all the meridian points that meet in the ears. This is acupressure. And one more time, all the way, and let it go. Still a little swiping across your eyebrows, a swipe across your cheekbones, a swipe down your chin, a swipe underneath your nose, and a swipe across your jaw. Good. Start to feel yourself now coming back into your body. So now, with your eyes, look around the room and find 5 blue things. Okay, and if blue is not your color, then you could look around and find something green. Okay, so 5, looking around for 5 blue things. Let's go for now 4 things that have a different texture. So you're thinking about all your senses. I can see a plant, I can see a glass, I can see chords, I can see my timer, and I can feel the top of my iPad. Okay, so 4 different textures. 3 different things that you can hear. I hear fan, I hear traffic, and I can hear my kiddo in the other room. Now, two things that you could smell. I can smell my hair product. I can smell the incense I was burning earlier. Now, one thing that you can taste, toothpaste. Okay, so these are very simple ways to come back into your body to really understand presence. And I want to thank you for taking that little bit of time to do that with me. Drop a comment. Let us know where you're coming in from. How did you come across Kundalini Yoga? How did you come across my channel? These are things that always help me to remember that this work is important, and also there's value here in spending time to connect, to move together, and also to find community. And so that's really what we're here for today. So yeah, please feel free to drop a comment here, and let's do a little bit of inner working now. So close your eyes and find a place in your body that feels very relaxed. Tune in and find a place in your body that feels very relaxed. And then tune into your body and find a place that maybe is holding a little bit of tension. Okay, so we're gonna put our hands on those two spots and then breathe into both. Two more breaths. And exhale. Amazing. So finding presence, finding safety, finding a moment of inner awareness in finding the breath. So the topic for today is home for the holidays. And there's a spiritual teacher who passed away a few years ago. His name is escaping me right now. Ram Dass. His name is Ram Dass. And Ram Dass had said very famously, show me an enlightened person and I'll ask them to go home and meet with their family for a few hours or a few days. And, the irony is not lost. The home, the beginning of our life, the caregivers that we chose on a soul level, are the ones who shaped our environment and then shaped how we respond to our environments. And so of course that can include a little bit of triggering, maybe a lot, and it can really ask us to look at what is it that we want for ourselves. And I think the holidays are a really specific time because it involves rituals and gatherings and food and the memories of people who have died and passed on. So there's a lot here. And sometimes there's also the contrast with who you are becoming, who you have become, and what are the values that your family continues to hold. And maybe there's not a match anymore. And these are all really difficult truths because belonging is something that all of us on a very ancient level need to feel and sense in order to feel safe. And when we come up into these kind of holidays, whether we're invited or not invited, whether we feel happy to go, whether we feel resistant or feeling a sense of duty or obligation, it's really complex. So that's what I wanted to offer some safe space to talk about today. And so the first place, and if you have your journals handy, this is a really good one to start with, is where does home feel like to you? Think about your body. Think about a physical location on the planet. Think about all the ways that the word home resonates for you. And as you consider that, think about what that sensation is, what that feeling is of home, and then offer that to us in the chat. What does home feel like? How do you experience home? And where might it show up in your body? Where might it show up in the world? And I'll just take a look at the comments. Joining from Malta. Awesome. I had a spiritual awakening, and you're finding here Kundalini Yoga. Thank you. Yeah, it's Kundalini Yoga is an incredible way to enhance your spiritual journey. I'm so glad that you're here. Talk to us about home. Drop a comment in the chat. Where does home feel like in your body? When I think about home in my body, I think about my heart space. I think about my feet, or rather, not even think about, but I feel my feet connecting to the ground below me. I I feel into my heart space, and in some ways, I feel into memory. Those are the places of home, and of course, my physical space. So that's one aspect, is what do we call home? And hopefully in that little reflection exercise, we can understand that home is much more than where people are gathering. Home is much more than a place that we may go to. Home is actually somewhere here that we can find in our own experience. Okay, so that's one place of where is home? What does it mean to us? The second one is about the sadness of this season, the grief. Maybe it's people that we miss. Maybe it's for the people that we used to be, the person who you used to be, where these holidays were easy to navigate. You didn't really think about it. Maybe it just meant food and presents and running around with your cousins or other people. Maybe it meant that. And now, as you've gotten older, you've shifted your own perspective, you've maybe created your own family. Some of these dynamics don't feel the same. And there's a longing for that, right? So, as much as there is belonging, a need to belong, there's also a longing for that place of comfort, of ease. And so, grief is that place where we also have to attend to. And so, that's the next place is please share one word that describes what feels tender for you in this season. What is it that you are experiencing that, has a little has a soft edge on it that you want to nurture and cultivate and take care of. Even if you can't really express it to anybody, maybe it's right here that you can share it. And I just want you to know that once we're done the live, the chat disappears. The video will remain, but the chat itself will disappear. So as you come to that feeling of tenderness, that feeling of wanting to take care of that aspect of yourself, what is that sensation? Is there a color? Is there a word? Is there something that you could choose that feels comforting in that tenderness? The next part of the conversation now, and I want you to know that we've had this conversation in Harmony Within Live just a couple of days ago on Wednesday. And part of what makes this really interesting and dynamic is all the different life experiences that we bring to the table. People from all walks of life, all ages and stages of life, all races, all cultural experience, all nationalities, all gender identities, all sexualities, and that brings a very rich level of understanding and complexity, quite frankly, to everything. Where some of us were not included because of our political views, or we felt confrontational, or there would be a sense of not belonging, or maybe it was about our sexuality, or maybe it was about the partner that we were bringing with us. And all of those are places where we trust our sense of safety and also what our families might be willing or unwilling to work through or navigate with us. So I want you to know that if you feel a sense of, you're not sure, that I want you to remember that that's valid. Your intuition works faster than the speed of your thought, and also is monitoring not just the actions and words of others, but also what is underneath all of that. And that's a very important part. So I want you to think about now enhancing your aura. So think about the space all around you, 9 feet in all directions, up, down, around, and across. And really consider fortifying your electromagnetic frequency. And that's not just science fiction. It's not just spiritual stuff. This is actually in infrared cameras can pick up your aura. There are photo apps that can also pick up your aura. So remember that this isn't just spiritual talk. This is actually real. So as you think about expanding your aura, think about a material that you might want to put there. Is it titanium? That's what I do. When I go out into public, I put titanium out into my aura so that really only the things that are necessary for me to encounter, that's what I encounter. And I think that for those of us who are really sensitive, who are empathetic beings, who can feel things in the atmosphere, it's very important to have a boundary around us. And that's just not just to keep people out, but it's to keep ourselves safe and contained. Okay, so this is a ritual that you can come into every single time you come into a new space, is to consider what is happening in your own ecosystem, and then how do you want to engage in the ecosystem around you. Okay, so that leads me to the next part of our conversation, which is what are the rituals that you would like to create for yourself that could support you right now. So I've given you one, and that is to go into environments. If you're making a choice to go somewhere, whether it's the grocery store or a gathering somewhere, that you consider how might I mentally, emotionally, spiritually prepare for this. So I'm not just rushing out the door and jumping into a space which has people or things that I find challenging, but I'm actually going to prepare for it. And I'm going to make myself most aligned with people who are also going to support me, right? Makes sense. So if I'm holding a intention of alignment, of curiosity, of protection, of conversations that meet me at the level of curiosity or depth that I'm in right now, then I think that's a worthwhile cause, and I think that's a worthwhile ask. And if people come towards you and they emit that same frequency back, you'll be able to feel it. And if they don't, you might find yourself sitting with the kids at the kids' table, and nothing wrong with it. And maybe that's when you take the dog out for a walk, when you notice, hey, nobody here is my cup of tea, and that's okay. Or maybe everybody is now zooming around with you in a way that is much more uplifting and much more curated and cultivated because you've taken the time to do that. Okay. So, what are the rituals that you have started? Maybe you're new to this, maybe this is something that you've been doing for a while. What are the rituals that you're bringing into the holiday season that are yours? Maybe you've created them with your children, with your partner, with this iteration of you as a grown adult. Or maybe there are rituals that your family does that you feel are really helpful and that bring people together. Here's some other ideas. So we talked about cleansing your aura and then also using your aura to help fortify what's happening in your life. The other thing you can do is light a candle. This is for me and my higher self. This is a flame of protection. Maybe this is when you do your breath work. Maybe it's in the shower, and in the shower, you are washing off any negativity. Maybe in the shower, you are nurturing a sense of your tenderness. So these are all small little ways that invite our intentionality. And I think if you look at all wisdom traditions, intentionality is such an important way to cast your spells, to start a practice, to do any of those kind of things. And that's really where our body and mind and spirit come along for the journey, not just happening in your mind. Okay, so if you have something that you'd like to share, please go ahead and drop that in the chat. And then the final part that we talked about on Wednesday in Harmony Within is who are your chosen family? And depending on the season that you're in, remember this is the year of the snake. So in many cases, a lot of us are outgrowing things that we participated with in the past. And so that might leave a lot of open space. Maybe you're looking out into an open field and saying, which way do I want to go now? Now that I'm free, now that I've seen the patterns that are around me, now that I've noticed how people are showing up or not showing up, now I get to choose. And in my choices, I can decide who I want to spend these holidays with. And so that's the next place to consider. Is this going to be a solo adventure for you? And if so, how can you build it in so it's lots of fun? How can you take yourself on some dates? How can you connect with nature? How can you be with your furry babies and find a way to connect with them? What's a new ritual that you can start? And all of those pieces help you to be seen, help us to be seen where we are right now. Whatever ritual you start this year doesn't mean it continues on. I had somebody in Harmony Within, she was sharing that this year, for the first time ever, she won't be with her kids. And so what she decided to do was when they came back over, they would order food. So instead of having to create a feast, she would actually make use of the free time and order food, let somebody else stress about it, let somebody else get paid for it, and then sit down and have a calm, peaceful, relaxed, no stress kind of meal with her children. A new ritual. And I think that's brilliant. And it doesn't mean that it has to happen next year, just mean that it's a ritual for this year. And I think those are all pieces that really allow us to be where we are now, be here now, be present. And so, and that's the way that we can start to bring all these pieces together. What's the idea of home? What is the sadness that we're working through? And how do we, address it fully and completely? Where are the places we feel new ritual is required? And then how do we choose? What are the choices? The most powerful thing you can do is make choices. Love is the most powerful force in the universe, but only if you choose it, right? And so let's integrate that now. Let's integrate all of that into a meditation. And this is a really beautiful, simple meditation. I hope you'll stay with me right till the end. It's 3 minutes. And in those 3 minutes, we're going to take some time with a mantra, and we're going to do it with a very subtle mudra and a little bit of pressure. So please get ready to join me for that. If you're able to, this is a quiet seated meditation. You're welcome to join me, or you can come back for the replay. It'll be up for maybe a couple of days, and then I'll be tucking it into Harmony Within. And before then, here's your formal invitation. Please join us in Harmony Within. It's an incredible group of human beings. We gather every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Eastern. We talk about all things. We talked this month about Year of the Snake. We talked about boundaries. We talked about home for the holidays. We talked about resources that we're all sharing and using, books, music, those kind of things. And it's a really vital way for us to feel in community. Using Kundalini Yoga as the foundation and then moving onwards. A couple more things before we get to the meditation. If you're ready for a deeper dive, you've been here and you're ready to take the deeper dive, that's Kundalini Yoga training. An incredible year. The content is always changing. It is structure, accountability, it is mentorship. You're working with me. We're meeting 6 times a month, and we are going through a reading list. We're understanding teaching methodology. I will give you techniques every single month and stay in touch with you every single month so that you stay true to your commitment to evolution, transformation. The next one is one-to-one working with me, and that is Soul Compass Coaching. You and me, 12 weeks, baby. Oh, the things that we can do in those 12 weeks. Solid mirror for you, a solid way to bounce your ideas, a solid way for us to move into that next chapter with support. I think that's everything. And then some new things coming in 2026. Okay. So let's get to this meditation. We're going to press our palms together here at the center of our chest. And that's the challenge of the mudra. And the mantra, Hami Hum Brahm Hum. Hami Hum Brahm Hum. And every time we complete the mantra, all we're going to do is press the palms together. So creating a little bit of tension here in the chest, activating the heart, and then squeezing root lock at the same time. So we're just tensing a little bit. And if you've been here for a while on my channel, you'll know that tension, so a little bit of tension and a release, allows the nervous system just to discharge any excess energy. So if you're finding yourself activated, overstimulated, overwhelmed, then the tension and the release is very helpful. If you find yourself understimulated, and so a little bit more into freeze mode, then the tension and the release also gets you a little bit more activated. So depending on where your body is right now, depending on what's going on and what your response is, we're going to find a way to move through that. This is all about the third chakra, and we're going to start now. So the mantra, Hummy Hum Brahm Hum. Do your best to follow along. And as we're doing that, each time we complete the mantra, we're going to push the hands together, squeeze root lock, and release. Okay, so eyes are closed, focusing in between the eyebrows and slightly above. Hummy Hum Brahm Hum. Push the hands, squeeze root lock, release. Hummy Hum Brahm Hum. Squeeze, push. Hummy Hum Brahm Hum. Press, squeeze, and release. I'm going to let you do that on your own now. Hummy Hum Brahm Hum. 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 Means we are one. Hummy Hum Brahm Hum. 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 One more minute. Hummy Hum Brahm Hum. 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 Last one. Hummy Hum Brahm Hum. Press your hands together. Squeeze root lock now. Squeeze and hold. Hold, hold, hold. Feel as though you're circulating energy from the base of your spine all the way up to the top of your head. And now let it go. Exhale. Do that one more time, two more times. Inhale very deeply, squeeze, tense, and hold. Squeeze root lock. Press your palms together. Exhale and release. And one more time. Inhale very deeply, squeeze, tense, and hold. Tense, 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 hold, hold, hold. And exhale. Release your hands, give them a little wiggle. Take a moment now, roll out your shoulders. Good. And then when you're ready, gently open your eyes, look around, and smile. Welcome back to your body. Welcome back to the community. And I'm going to stay on now and just see if you have any questions. What we did there was meditation to stimulate the sensation of home. Right? So that home is in your root chakra. Symbolically, when we are considering the root chakra, when we're considering how we make our way into the world, that grounding energy, that rooting energy, our connection to the earth, to our ancestry, all of that stems from the root center. And so that's what we were doing today. We're using a mantra, Hami Hum, Brahm Hum. We are one. So a sense of unity, a sense of connectedness. And even though we may not know each other literally, there is a sense of community because we are connecting over this particular practice. We're finding our commonalities and coming here and finding a safe space. So thank you very much for practicing today. Remember that all the ways to work with me are linked down below in the description box. And here's your opportunity to get in a little closer. It's amazing to be with you across the video screen here live, but when we actually are able to exchange ideas, that's when things get really excited and exciting. If you'd like to do that, all the links are below. Come and find me on Instagram at YogaVision. Come and find me on TikTok at YogaVision Online. So many different ways to interact, to share views, share ideas, share all kinds of things. Okay, so if you have any questions about your practice, you've noticed something about Kundalini Yoga, maybe there's something that you want to ask me particularly about your practice, I'm going to hang on for a few seconds and let's see where this goes. We have a couple of comments here. Somebody joining in from Malta, a few people from the US, celebrating Thanksgiving. Thank you for being here, for taking the time out. Remember that if you need a little break, you can always take go and find your fur babies. Go and do a little bit of breath work as you are excusing yourself in the bathroom. Remember that you're not obliged to do anything. I know it seems like we don't have choice, but the most powerful thing you can do is to choose your own ecosystem and choose your environment. And when you make moves like that, subtle, elegant, graceful, it doesn't have to be a big, fiery letter to everybody or an email to everybody or a text message to the family group chat. All it needs to be is a little bit of you drawing back your energy and diverting it into the places that you find comfort and ease and safety. And that's a really important piece. And I'll tell you why. Our nervous system is designed for two modes, really. One of them is protection. And when you're in protection mode, your guard is up and you're not necessarily looking for connection. And the opposite is true. Then there is another mode that is wired for connection. And that mode is not always, well, it's just not prepared to protect. So when you're open and you're ready to engage with someone, when there's maybe intimacy or a depth in that relationship, that's not the place where you're going to try and protect yourself. And so you can see here how your body is structured around the idea of safety first, not happiness, not obligation, not duty, but where do I feel safe and how can I feel safe? So even if the environment's not safe, you will take on a strategy to make it safe. And that could include fawning, that could include coming in and leaving, that could involve getting into fights with people. And that could include just sitting on the couch and watching TV while everybody's in the other room. There are so many different ways that we might engage in this time of the year. Now, your biggest clue that something's not quite right or that there is a danger in your environment is to notice that you have been triggered. As soon as you go into that fawning mode, as soon as you go into that flight mode or a fight mode, that is a signal that you could take seriously. And that is there's something in your environment that is feeling unsafe, and so your guard is up. Okay, so again, it's not about connection, it's about protection. If you notice the opposite, the places when you feel calm and relaxed, you're not defaulting into those zones. or if you are, they're small and tender and you can come out of them fairly quickly. And those are the places of connection. And when you walk with this in mind, this is a trauma-informed perspective. When you walk with this in mind, you start to make really good decisions. You don't miss the red flags anymore. And you start to see the patterns, not what people are saying, but what is the pattern that's showing up. And I think that's very valuable. That's what Kundalini Yoga will teach you, 100%. Now, the key is around your practice not to use it as a way of tolerating poor behavior, bad behavior, of tolerating places that are dangerous or unsafe. Please do not use the practice for that. When you take on a practice that uses in its foundation, Sat Nam, truth is my name, and you don't pay attention to that truth, it will hurt. It will hurt more, and it'll hurt more in retrospect. Okay. So, with all of that being said, keep yourself safe. Find ways now to relax. In a couple of days, I'll have a new video up, and I invite you to try that. If you have a few more minutes now and you want to do a little bit longer of a practice, please go and do that. Join me on those other platforms. I'm there all the time, and I'm looking forward to seeing you. Okay. One more thing. If you want to join the newsletter, go over to yogavision.com, and I'll send you stuff to your inbox. Bye. Lots of love, everybody. Thank you for joining, and I'll see you very soon.